So let's find the mass percents of strontium, hydrogen, phosphorus, and oxygen in strontium dihydrogen phosphate. First thing is we're going to find the total mass, then we'll find those percents. Take a look. Bam. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down the elements we have in the compound. So strontium, hydrogen, phosphorus, and oxygen. Next is then to identify the number of atoms of each, and that's where the subscripts come into play. All right, so if you don't see a subscript there at the bottom, just put in a 1. Okay, so for strontium, there's only one strontium, so we're going to write 1. For hydrogen, there's 2 hydrogens. However, hydrogen is part of that polyatomic anion dihydrogen phosphate, and you have 2 of those anions. So therefore, you would have 4 hydrogens in total. In other words, take the inner subscript and multiply it by that outer subscript. All right. Next, for phosphorus, there's 1 phosphorus here, but then you got to multiply by that outer subscript, so there's 2. And then oxygen, you would multiply there for B8. Then you're going to simply take those number of atoms and multiply by the mass of each element. These masses are always found on the periodic table, so let's take a look. Strontium's mass is 87.62, hydrogen is 1.01, phosphorus is 30.97, and oxygen is 16. So let's write that on in. So we have here 87.62. Hydrogen is going to be 1.01, phosphorus is 30.97, and then oxygen was 16. Then what you're going to do is you're going to find the total mass of each element now in the compound by simply multiplying this row on across. So this is 87.62 for strontium, hydrogen is going to be 4.04, phosphorus is going to be 61.94, and oxygen is 128. Don't really know why I wrote 180. And to find now the total mass of the compound, which is really what we're interested in, just simply add this column on up. So that's 281.6 units of mass. And there it is. That's the total mass. That was the first step of the process. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a column to the table. I'm going to find those percentages. Bam. So to find the mass percent of strontium, we're simply going to take the total mass of that strontium, 87.62 units of mass, and divide it by the total mass of that entire compound. That's why we had to do that first. And then multiply that by 100. Don't worry about the units because the units are going to cancel. So this is 31.12%. All right, so that's the percentage for strontium. Now you're going to do the same thing for hydrogen. Total mass of that hydrogen, 4.04, divided by the total mass of the compound, 281.60, multiplied by 100, and this is going to work out to be about 1.43%. Right, look at how nice and simple this is now, right? We're just using this column. So total mass of phosphorus, this is 61.94, divided by the total mass of the compound, 281.60, times 100, and that's going to work out to be about almost 22% even, right? Good. And then last but not least, if you're at this point, you're like, oh my goodness, okay, I get it. That's the whole point. You want it to become so routine, it becomes like mindless, all right? So when you do the math here, it's going to be 45.45. And a nice little way to check yourself then, before you wreck yourself, is going to be to simply add these percentages up. And what it should equal would be 100. And if it does, who's going to be happier than you? Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Take care.